Yes, sir. Okay, sir. When can we start, sir? Shall we start, sir?
Yes, sir.
Okay, sir. Good evening, one and all. Welcome to the webinar series, Mental Health Webinar Series 2020 and 2021. Today we are going to have a 464th session. The topic of this session is chakras under mental health intervention by the resource person Dr. Mahalakshmi Rajagopal. So I would like to welcome all the participants and resource person on behalf of American College Madurai and MS Chellamuthi Institute Madurai and Madras School of Social Work Chennai and Red Pond Educational Psychological Research Center Madurai, Yellow Pond Counseling Center and TNTCCA and TNCPA and STEPS Foundation. I would like to welcome once again all the participant resource person for the today's sessions. Dr. Suresh sir, over to you, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Ma'am, we are really happy to have you here. I'm happy to introduce the speakers who here, Mahalakshmi Rajagopal. She's an holistic wellness practitioner and trainer and transformation coach and energy healer. I'm happy to talk about her credentials. She has completed her master's in psychology as well as social work from Madras University. And presently, she is engaged in private practices and freelance consultation and training. And she's a founder of Sakayam Intervention Center. It is a registered organization, and she has offered many services to the families of children with special needs that includes assessment, report counseling, guidance to schools, and parent training, remedial interventions for the children. She has provided integrated complementary healing system with conventional psychotherapy and cognitive behavior therapy to empower the client's mental health to the state of wellness. As he has developed path-breaking, tailor-made courses and workshops for adolescents and adults. Those are interested, you can contact her after the session. And she has involved herself in many of the sensitization program on special needs and classroom management for teachers and parents. She has conducted an impact analysis for special schools in New Delhi and designed a monitoring format for the various interventionists offering services in the special schools. And she is one of the certified school auditor, SAN India and SAN UK. And she is having many publications for credit. With that note, I welcome today's speaker for our session. Ma'am, over to you.
Thank you very much. Good evening to one and all. And I'm really grateful to this organization for accepting this topic, which is a very unique topic, which is less spoken topic, and which is not really understood, especially in our space of mental health. And I have been working in this space for the last 20 years using aura, using chakra healing for various mental health interventions. And this, in the beginning itself, I would like to share that this is used more like a supportive healing. You cannot claim that you could bring about a complete healing only through chakra healing or only through working on the aura. So this is definitely used as a complementary system of healing for various mental health. So I would just give you an introduction and an insight about what this aura is about, what chakras are about. I also welcome you all to ask me questions so that the whole concept is very clear. First and foremost, what is this aura? So many times we talk about, especially the youngsters today say, when I went to meet this particular person, the aura was not good, or I didn't like the aura in that room. So, but then do we really understand what this aura means? Aura is nothing but a bioenergetic field that is practically extending outside our physical body. So aura is nothing but the energy field in which we are existing. So aura is nothing but the energy field of every individual or every living being. This is what is known as aura. Aura is also known as energy field, bioplasmic field. In Sanskrit, it is known as pranamaya kosha. Now this interpenetrates your physical body and extends out. So the healthier the person is, the more well evolved the person is, that person's aura is much, much stronger. And it expands maybe even to a few meters, beyond the physical body. Now, we all know that energy is something which is constantly changing, constantly flowing, but it cannot be destroyed. It can only be disintegrated, or it can change its space or its state. So basically, when we talk about aura and chakras, we call this system of healing as energy healing. Now, you might have heard, many of you may be familiar with the words of Reiki, pranic healing, even Jin Shinto. And now all of these healing systems all come under the big umbrella of energy healing. Now, first and foremost, before we step into understanding about the chakras, let us try to understand what are the principles on which this kind of a system of healing is based on. The principles of energy healing is very simple. We exist if energy exists. It's not that energy exists because of us. We exist if the energy exists. Every living being has the ability to heal itself. Now you see, when you have a small cut or you have a small scratch, you don't have to run to apply medicine. It just heals on its own. Every body, you see the animals on the road, when they get injured, they don't need a veterinary doctor all the time. They heal on their own. So every living being's body has the ability to heal by itself. We are all connected by the medium of energy. Right now, we are all connected by a medium of energy. That is why we are all together in this session, where I am able to, share some inputs and you are all able to receive. Other than that also, what do we mean by saying we are all connected by the medium of energy? Going back to the first example of, the bad vibes, what I raised. Now, many a times we feel when we go to say a party, when we are in some friend's house or a relative's house, we feel connected. In some places, we feel very out of place. Now, what is this feeling of connection where we are all connected by the medium of energy? So we are able to sense that kind of a energy connecting all of us. And when we feel out of place, somewhere there is a kind of a non-alignment of energies, as a result of which we do not feel that we are able to fit in that place. Energy follows thought. How often this has happened in your life that you think of the person and the person texts you or calls you? This happens a lot to me. Many a times I would just think of the person and that person would either call me up or the person would send me a message or a mail inquiring about exactly the same thing which I was thinking about. Now this happens, we all call it coincidence. But then this is actually, or we call it intuition, but this is, the principle is energy follows thought. We think, and the energy, because we are connected by the medium of energy, we are able to, the energy follows it and then it manifests itself in front of us. Energy flows from a higher level to a lower level. Now, this is something which we all experience. How often, whether you have great faith or whether you're very committed or not, if you visit any place of worship, irrespective of the religion or irrespective of the belief system, but when you visit a place of worship, you come back, you feel rejuvenated. Many a times you would be amongst your own friends' company, but then the kind of topic they are talking or whatever, when you come back, you feel very drained. Sometimes it will happen with the same person. It's not necessary that you would have some specific problem with that person, but you would feel very drained. Now, in both these situations, what is happening? Energy flows from the higher level to a lower level. In the first example, the energy which has flown in to you is definitely the positive energy. And in the second example, the negative energy was very high in the other person and it flowed into you. Now, if you have a question, why did the negative energy flow into you? The answer is not that because your energy field had less negative energy, but the answer is your positive energy also was not strong enough to ward off the flow of negative energy. So energy flew from the higher level to the lower level. Energy may be strengthened or weakened, but it can only be disintegrated. It can never be destroyed. Now, we do have our traditional experiences with energy, which we just do not reckon it or we do not connect to it as energy healing methodologies, praying for some loved one who is very far away. And now, the last 1 year, we have all been doing mass prayers because of our loved ones, because we are all stuck in the pandemic. Wishing well for the other person. Now, for praying, for wishing well, we do not insist that we need to see the person in front of us physically. We are still able to send these thoughts. Now, how do these thoughts go? These thoughts go in the form of energy from us to that person. Feeling uncomfortable in the presence of some people, which I just explained, experiencing some upliftment in mood and energy on visiting places of worship. The last one, the practice of Drishti Sutti Podal or Nazar Utarna in Hindi. I do not know how many of you here believe in Drishti Suttarth or the Nazar Utarna. Believe me, when I was a youngster, I too did not believe in this and I thought it was all blind beliefs. But once I
Ma'am, sorry
started
to interrupt
learning
you.
about
Your
healing,
voice is too low, I believe. Can you check it, please, ma'am?
voice is low. You know, it's we are having a thunder shower here, probably because of that. Am I audible?
It's actually quite.
Ma'am, it is very clear for me, sir.
Sorry.
Salim sir, it is clear for me.
Sir,
yes,
for me
yes.
also it is clear. Jyoti here. Thank you.
Okay.
It's here too.
Um,
It's clear.
So may I continue? Okay, great. So thank you. You know, when I was, as I was saying, see, as a youngster, I did not believe in Drishti Suttal and I definitely used to make fun of my mom. But as I grew up, I think all of us do this, no? Making fun of our parents is, I think, a pastime for us as youngsters. But as I grew up and as I learned the healing techniques, I realized that Nazar Utarna or this Drishti Suttal is nothing but a very unstructured form of clearing the energy field. And this has been in our traditional practices. The only negative aspect here is we have not been handed over a structured form of using this as an effective technique. As a result of which each one of us do it in our own whims and ways, which we have been taught, and it may or may not always give us the right results. Now, if I show you the next slide, is this picture visible?
Yes, ma'am, visible, yeah.
Yeah.
visible.
So now this is just a figurative explanation of in an idealistic situation, if all our chakras are very well developed and very well strengthened, then we have this kind of a glow around our physical body. Right now, that is a very ideal situation. But what we need to understand from this picture is the glow or the line which you can see outside the physical body. That is what is the aura. And how strong the aura is, how clean the aura is, will depend on how of your physical health as well as your mental health. So I think all of us would have heard and we are very familiar with the 7 major chakras in the aura. So coming to, before I get into the chakras, I'll give you a little more explanation about how this whole system works. So imagine, like, I'm just giving you a figurative understanding. Now, say this is the physical part of my hand. So the energy field or the aura of this part of my hand may be somewhere here. So even when I'm talking, I'm saying this part of the aura is congested or depleted. This is only a figurative representation because we are all so used to the physical touch and representation. So I am actually meaning the aura here. So if I'm talking about, say, a chakra here, and I say, you know, the third eye is here. It is not here. If you cut open this part, you're not going to find a chakra. But what I mean is, it is somewhere here. It is just in front of my, the center of my eyebrows. That is what we mean. Now, when we talk about the aura, we have the aura which is extending from the center of the physical body, it extends out. Okay, now this aura, you can represent, you can have draw a parallel that if you imagine that this aura is the body in the energy field and this is the physical body. Now, just like how in the physical body, you have the blood flowing in the blood vessels, in the energy body, the energy flows through meridians. So you have meridians all over. It's there in the front, in the side, at the back, all over you have the meridians, and the energy flows in through the meridians. Meridians are nothing but energy channels. Now, wherever the energy channels are, coinciding or forming a junction, you have an energy center. Now, this energy center is nothing but the chakras. So, what are actually chakras? Chakras are nothing but the energy center. Now, We are all familiar with 7 chakras. But when you talk about the energy field, I am talking about it can be very big. And I'm saying wherever the meridians are coinciding and there is a junction of meridians, you are having an energy center. So then it is very clear that we do have many more chakras. These are the most important chakras, and these chakras are also referred to for with regarding spiritual growth and spiritual development. But we have many major chakras, we have minor chakras, we have mini chakras. So just to give you an example, in this depression below your throat, here at the base of your throat, you have a minor chakra, which is known as the secondary minor chakra. In tips of your fingers, you have the mini chakras, the finger mini chakras. Your center of your palms, we have a palm minor chakra. The same way, center of your soul, we have the soul minor chakras. In this form, you have many minor chakras and many mini chakras. So for us now, we are going to try to understand the 7 major chakras. Now here, each of this chakra has got a physiological function and a psychological function. And when this particular chakra is affected, we have health problems. It could be physical health problems or mental health problems. So the root chakra is at the base of the spine. The psychological function is the center for survival. It has, so when a person has issues of insecurity, it could be financial or emotional or low self-esteem, we know that this chakra is affected. This chakra could have either less energy or excess contaminated energy, as a result of which it is shaking up the security of the person. This the chakra, from the physiological aspect, it is for the skeletal-muscular system as well as the circulation of blood. Why I would like to mention the physiological functions also here, because we all as mental health professionals, we do know that many of the physiological ailments are psychosomatic and they have their root in their emotional spaces. And so even if a person comes to me, for example, when I have arthritis patients coming to me for healing, I do at least 50% of the healing sessions will be for working on their emotions. I do the psychotherapy part from the healing aspect. So we need to be aware of this truth too. So the navel chakra, the position is at the navel. Psychological function, it is the passion center. It is the instinct of knowing. That gut feeling, whatever we say, comes because our navel chakra is well developed. Many a times you will realize that you will think it's the gut feeling, and in reality, it would not be true. It would not happen. Now, why does this happen? Because there, your gut feeling is an illusion, and your navel chakra has probably got contaminated, thus giving you a kind of an elusive perception, and you are not able to feel right, though you feel it's a gut feeling. The navel chakra is also for perception, pleasure, sensuality, intimacy. So when the navel chakra is not developed properly, when there is a contamination or a depletion, you have difficulty in maintaining and establishing intimacy, inability to tap one's passion or creativity. The person also has a lot of guilt feelings. The person with a problem in the navel chakra would also have difficulties with sensuality and one's own sexuality. From the physiological aspect, navel chakra is related, or it deals with the digestive system and the excretory system. The solar plexus chakra is just below the rib, where both the ribs part and you have a small hollow. The solar plexus chakra is located in that aspect. The psychological function are the lower emotions, in the sense of when we talk about lower emotions, it can also be the determination to achieve. The lower emotions can be anger, resentment, jealousy, and the need for possessions. All of these are the lower emotions. Lower emotions need not be only negative. We need the solar plexus chakra to be strong if we want to have a willpower to achieve certain things. Now, in this pandemic, if we are all wanting to survive and we want to, be able to overcome the crisis, our solar plexus chakra needs to be very strong. So with regarding assertiveness, a person who is not assertive will have a very bad or a contaminated or a weak solar plexus chakra. Now, from the physiological function aspect, the solar plexus chakra takes care of the lungs. It takes care of the circulatory system as well as, to a certain extent, the digestive system. Heart chakra. Now, heart chakra is not on the left, it is in the center, right? It is in the center of your chest, and at the back, the psychological function, center for higher emotions such as compassion, unconditional love, empathy, forgiveness, and being able to love and being able to be a giver is what the heart chakra is all about. And we know the physiological function is it takes care of the respiratory system. The throat chakra is in the center of the throat. The psychological functions are creative skills, communications, and when the throat chakra is not very well developed, or we are contaminated or depleted, that is where when we indulge in a lot of lies, when we are in denial, the throat chakra is affected. And the physiologically, it is responsible for the foot pipe, the windpipe, the voice box, and the thyroid glands. The Ajna chakra is here, right in the center. We all know it as the third eye. It is a seat of wisdom. It is a center for focus. It is for willpower, intuition, clairvoyance, and it is also the gateway for spiritual enlightenment, and of course, telepathy. Telepathy and intuition, this chakra is very well developed. When it is not well developed, it is a seat for endocrine glands. So whenever you have a problem in the Ajna chakra, some endocrine gland will be affected. And it is also known as the master chakra. So if any other chakra is affected, the Ajna chakra will be affected. The crown chakra is above in the center on top. It is the center for consciousness, higher consciousness. So this is more related to the spiritual growth, spiritual development, enlightenment, illumination. But crown chakra also is very well developed when we are focusing in any aspect of enlightenment. Enlightenment doesn't refer only to spirituality. When we are into the scholarly mode, when we are trying to, assimilate, absorb, the crown chakra is very well developed. And in the physiological space, the crown chakra is responsible for the function of the brain. I will continue, and then later on I would be open for asking questions. This is just a summary. If you can see the crown chakra, I have already gone through the whole thing about the brain, the center for awareness. Ajna is for the endocrine system, center for intuition. Throat is for the thyroid, voice box, windpipe, foot pipe. It is a center for expression. Heart is for respiratory system, center for higher emotions. Solar plexus is for the digestive, and the lungs, liver, gallbladder, etc., center for self-oriented emotions. The navel is for the digestive system and the reproductive system, and it's also for creativity, procreation, and sensuality. The root is for the skeletal-muscular, circulatory. It is a center for survival. Now, you can see here this table, I've got 3 columns, and the second and third has got the title as virtue and demon. Let us not get fixed with the term as virtue and demon. What you need to understand is when the chakras are very well developed or in the process of developing, we are progressing, and it enables in our daily life, you will see that the virtues are the ones which are getting more and more manifested in our life. And when the chakras are actually not developed, when they are depleted, or when they are contaminated with dirty energy, the what we have put down as demons are the ones which manifest in our life. So when we have, or you can put it the other way also. So suppose you find a person who is into too much of attachments, too much of addictions, and even in emotional attachments which are actually affecting his functioning, his relationships. That means the signal is the crown chakra needs to be treated. When the person is under an illusion and is not able to see things clearly in front of him, whatever is happening, he is in his own world, then we need to work on the Ajna chakra. A person who is in denial, who is into a lot of lying. Now, this is something which is very interesting, and I would like to share here. So whenever I take these sessions and I tell people that, your throat chakra is bad, that means you are experiencing, or you are in the space of lies. So they get very offended and they tell me, no, ma'am, it's not true. But you know what? How many times we tell lies to our own selves? We need to look at it and reflect at it that way. How many times, whenever we are in denial, we are lying. How many times, it can be as simple as you might be very tired, but just because you have a lot of work to do, you're pushing yourself through and saying, no, I'm not tired. I have enough energy to complete this work. That is a lie. So if you reflect on this aspect of lying, our throat chakras will be in a very bad shape. So when a person is in a lot of grief, the heart chakra needs to be treated. When you have to work on shame, embarrassment, awkwardness, feeling bad, then you need to work in the solar plexus. When a person is into a lot of guilt mode and has a lot of the habit and patterns of getting into a guilt trip very frequently, you need to work on the navel chakra or the sacral chakra. Fears, insecurities, we work on the root chakra, right? So this is how we need to understand what are the problems. So when you are using this as a mental health intervention tool, you, after your case history, and you do a diagnosis of understanding what are the negative elements or the limitations this particular person is going through, and based on that you are able to choose which are the chakras that you need to work on and how to heal the person. So now this is something which I have developed and which I would like to share with you with a lot of, doing a lot of study. I was able to, connect positive psychology virtues with aura. So I think most of us will be familiar with the virtues recommended by positive psychology, which falls under these 6. And under these 6, you have the other 24 character strengths. So each of this, if we are able to recognize which is the particular virtue that I would like to develop, then we would be able to connect to understand which is the specific chakra we need to work in order to develop the particular virtue. So for wisdom, ajna, crown and throat. For courage, root, solar and ajna. Humanity, heart, throat and navel. Justice, crown, ajna, root and throat. Temperance, root, navel and throat. Transcendence is crown, heart and root. Yeah. So do you so now this is what is about the aura. Do you have any questions here, or may I go ahead? Any questions, please?
Ma'am, you
We
can
will
go
have a
ahead.
Q&A at the
Fine.
end of it.
Okay, so now to help you to understand how we need to use aura or chakra healing techniques for mental health. So the person walks in. The person would come to you with various other, I'm just going to change this. So we need to look at this and we need to look at this. These are the 2 slides I'll be alternating right now. So the person comes to you and the person is coming to you for anxiety. And the person would be listing out all the problems, and you would be recognizing the symptoms, and you will be noting it down and documenting what are the symptoms this person is going through. So here you need to understand the major difference in when we are dealing using chakra healing for any kind of an intervention is we may not necessarily go by the specific disorder as diagnosed. We would also probably not be going specifically symptom wise, but when the person speaks of the symptoms, when the person speaks of the problems, we would go a little further down to try to recognize what are the demons presently manifesting in the particular patient's life. Like, for example, to give you a very simple example, say the person is talking to you about, when he talks to you about anxiety and says, you know what, I'm feeling very uncomfortable and I have to keep telling my boss that I can't come to office every day and it's overwhelming me. Then what is it that you recognize from the healing perspective and these principles? You will recognize that the person, we need to help the person to work on the shame. Right now, the person, along with shame, what else does this person will be going through? This person will also feel guilty. So we can work on the guilt. So if you are going to work on the shame and the guilt, we have to work on the solar plexus and the sacral. Now we all know when a person is going through an anxiety attack, there is a lot of fear. So when there is a lot of fear, what is it that we would work on? We would be working on the root chakra. Okay, now along with this, we would know that when the person is going through an anxiety attack, there is a lot of illusion. For instance, the person would feel ki something is going to happen to him. He's having a heart problem. Maybe he would feel I'm going to die or somebody else is going to die. Now, all of these kind of things would be there. And so then what is it? The person is going through illusion. So if the person is going through illusion, which is the chakra we need to work on? We need to work on the ajna. So when we are using chakras for intervention of a mental health concern or a mental health issue, this is how you are going to first do the regular case history, further regular documentation, and from there you are going to cull out what you are going to address through the chakra healing. Right? Now going back to this. So now here, when you're able to look at this, say, as I was talking to you about the various psychosomatic ailments. So a person comes to you and talks to you about asthma, or the person says he has an irritable bowel syndrome. Then what would you do? You could use this table where we try to understand which is the chakra for the digestive system, which is the chakra for the excretory system, which is the chakra which is to be treated for asthma, and associated with what are the other demons that are existing in that person's life. So you go up and down into these two to recognize and cull out what is the objective of your healing and how you're going to achieve it. Right? Any questions here, please? Are there any questions?
Yes. So the thing is, I see a lot of overlaps with respect to mental health. Most of these demons, as you say, there are overlaps, right? How well you zero down on the specific chakra therapy? No, there are overlaps.
What do you mean by overlap?
Overlap in the sense they'll be facing attachment issues, they'll be facing illusions, they'll be.
I can't hear you. Can you attachment?
They'll be facing attachment issues. They'll be fearful. They'll be facing guilt. They'll have guilty feelings. They'll feel shameful. They'll have all feelings, right? When a person is going through an anxiety, when a person is going. Yeah.
See, see again, it depends, right? If the person is going through all of them, see, then probably you would have to treat all the chakras. Every person suffering from anxiety may not necessarily have an attachment issue.
Okay.
So it depends. So that was that is why, see, even when you, again here also, like how we say, right, even when we are in a therapy session, we do say that every patient who comes in, every client who comes in is unique, and two anxiety disorder clients cannot be treated in the same way. The same thing holds good here also. Probably if the client is not really focusing on, say, the shame, though the person has come in with anxiety, the person may not be addressing shame, then you would not be focusing there.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yes.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Participant, you can unmute yourself and you can ask the questions, or you can put in the chat box. We can able to read it.
Hello.
Yeah.
Ma'am, it's a very good presentation.
Thank you.
Hello.
Any questions?
No, ma'am, I found this topic very interesting. I learned a lot of information from this. So I just want to tell that. That's why I unmuted myself.
Thank you.
I learned a lot of things from this. Thank you very much, madam.
Thank you.
Ma'am, how to activate these chakras?
Pardon me, how to activate? This is a very important question, and if I remember right, last year when I did this webinar, also the same question did come up from the participants. See, right from the time a fetus is conceived, and once the heartbeat and the brain has started developing in the fetus in the womb, the energy field also slowly starts developing. Okay, and there is so actually speaking, when do the chakras close, or when do they get completely deactivated, is only when the breathing stops. So actually speaking, they are all already awake and active. The only thing is this activation is a very tricky term which is used in a lot of forums to, you know, to attract and to make it very exciting and interesting. But the fact is all the chakras are actually active. The only problem is, why is it that we have problems? Why is it that we are having difficulties in health, or you know, in our clarity, etc., is because the chakras may be contaminated or the chakras may be weak. But we cannot survive if our chakras are not active. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Ma'am, I have one question.
Yeah.
How to strengthen, ma'am? How to strengthen or improve the energy level chakras?
That's a very good question. So the first and foremost thing is there are very, very simple things that we can do. We do not realize that just by our regular deep breathing, which our doctors teach us to keep our lungs strong, that itself, what happens is that clears the meridians and allows a free flow of energy in the aura. That is the first and foremost thing. Second thing is, whenever we have, when we are consciously able to work on positive thoughts. So there again, we all know, many of you will be mental health professionals, but still I would like to, you know, add this for the benefit of non-professionals here. There is always this confusion between positive thinking and fantasy thinking. So, but then if we are in the realistic positive thinking realm, that itself helps in activating and energizing the chakras. Another simple way of keeping your aura healthy is to have a salt water bath. This is also a very important thing. Other than that, another easy methodology is, when we walk barefoot in areas where there is a lot of positive energy, our soul chakras are continuously absorbing the energy. That is another way. Of course, we do have the structured way where we do teach in a workshop where we can teach about how to clean each chakra and energize each chakra. But these points are the ones which are the very simple tips which we can use to activate our chakras. And I also would like to share here that on every Saturday morning, I conduct a free meditation on loving kindness, which helps to activate the heart chakra and the crown chakra. So I can share that. So tomorrow, whoever is ready for a 7 a.m. meditation, you're most welcome to get in touch with me. The link is already sent out. So these are the various methodologies you can use to energize your chakra. Another important point is, I'll just finish this and I'll take your thing. Another important point is, because I told you that the energy field is extending outside your physical body. The energy field is the one which always gets affected first. And it is only when the energy field and the aura is affected and the chakras are affected and nothing is done about it, and after some time, it does have an impact on the body and the mind. So this time is known as the time lag. So if you are regularly in the practice of working on your chakras and healing them and cleansing and energizing your chakras, you actually can see a beautiful change in the way your immunity builds up, the way you are able to ward off illnesses, the way you're able to ward off, you know, the negativity and the negative emotional spaces that we generally get into. I hope that answered your question.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ma'am, I have one small question, ma'am. Can I ask, ma'am? I have one small
Yes,
question.
please, please.
Ma'am, question is that as a human system, we have a circulatory system, lymphatic system, no?
Yeah.
So lymphatic means again the waste and all, it is to be drained out.
Yeah.
So what I feel in chakras, there are 7 chakras. So where the lymphatic system is getting blocked, is it that related with our this thing healing and all? Suppose it is those lymphatic system is blocked at plexus, or at navel chakras. So that means it will affect those whatever the demons and virtues are there of those chakras, it will affect. So we have to deal with such kind of this lymphatic system. How we can do it, ma'am? Can you throw some light on this?
See, Acha, so I'll go a little more deeper here. First of all, as I mentioned in the beginning, it is not only the 7 chakras, there are many, many more chakras. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
And the different chakras are responsible for the functioning of different systems. So since this is a very short session, I briefly explained to you the important ones. Like I told you, the Ajna chakra is for the endocrine system, and the solar plexus is for the heart chakra is for the respiratory system, etc. But every chakra, every system has a chakra which takes care of it.
Yes.
Okay. And another thing is, as I told you about, and every physical organ in our physical body is represented in the energy form in the energy field. So it's the aura or the energy field is not just about meridians and the chakras. So say, for example, a person's liver is affected. So during a healing process, we do clean the liver, the energy field of the liver. So when we are talking about the lymphatic system, there are the thymus glands and there is the throat chakra, which we, and the various other minor chakras like the secondary throat chakra, etc., which needs to be cleansed and energized to heal and help the lymphatic system to recover. Now, coming to your question about how it is connected to the emotions, and that was also your question. Am I right?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So, see, when we are not taking good care of our energy field and our chakras and our aura, and we allow it to get contaminated or we allow it to get depleted and contaminated, then slowly with the whichever chakra is weaker or whichever chakra is more affected, those are the demons which will manifest in our lives. Does it help you? Does it answer your question?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Thank you very much, ma'am, because you have
Thank you.
clarified my doubt. So actually, the lymphatic system also will be main functioning aspect of our healing chakras, no, ma'am? That's what I wanted to have clarification. Thank you.
Yeah. See, the lymphatic system. So I would answer it this way: the lymphatic system also can be treated by the aura healing methodology. Does that help?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Shivakumar sir, are you there? Yeah, okay, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. So see, but then though here, let me just go back to this table. So here, though I'm talking about specific demons, and in this I'm talking about specific, like for example, I've said the Ajna chakra is for the endocrine system, right? And I've said throat is for thyroid gland, voice box, windpipe, foot pipe. But you need to understand that suppose a person comes with an asthma problem, or the person comes with a heart ailment, right? Or a person comes with a thyroid ailment. It would not be just because Ajna chakra is for endocrine system, we will not be treating only one chakra. It will be a combination of chakras. As I said, we will first listen to the ailment or the problem. We will note down what they are calling as problems. We will recognize the symptoms. Then we will recognize what are all the contamination points or the depletion points with reference to the concept of energy field. So many a time when a person comes to you for an ailment or a problem, you would be actually treating more than one chakra. It's very rarely one chakra. Does that make it a little more clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Any other questions? Thank you.
So,
Any questions?
I would like to say something. Am I audible? Is my
Yes,
voice
sir.
clear?
Yeah.
So I came here with an open mind. When a person approaches me for their problems,
Hmm.
in a systematic way, we usually proceed in the
You're not.
tested way.
Your voice is breaking, sir.
Okay.
Mr. Abhijit,
So-
yeah, your voice is breaking.
So I would finish it in simple words. Thank you for bridging the gap between mental health and chakras. It really lightened me up. I could see the picture. Thanks for that. I came here with an open mind and It was helpful. Thank you.
Okay, sir.
Thank you so much for the feedback.
Thank you, Ms. Abhijit. Ma'am, I
Any
think
other questions?
yeah, there is no questions. There are a lot of positive feedbacks, ma'am, in the chat box. All are appreciated about the concept and the explanation, everything, ma'am. There are a lot of positive
Great.
inputs.
So if there are no questions, then may I take you through a guided imagery of reconnecting to the chakras? Would that help?
Yes, ma'am. Yeah.
Yes. So I'm really grateful for all the positive feedback. I would kindly close your eyes. Inhale and exhale slowly and comfortably. Just be aware of your breathing. And slowly and gently raise your awareness to the root chakra, which is at the base of your spine, the root chakra. As you raise your awareness to your root chakra, mentally be receptive to cleanse your root chakra of all fears and insecurities, feeling unsure, feeling unsettled. Clear your root chakra of all insecurities, feelings of being unsettled, and allow your root chakra to be energized. And as your root chakra is energized, the receptivity to survive, to overcome, to be grounded begins to manifest. Allow your root chakra to be cleansed and energized. Now slowly and gently raise your awareness to your navel chakra. Your navel chakra is at your navel. As you raise your awareness to your navel chakra, be receptive to the navel chakra to be cleansed of all guilt, and allow your navel chakra to be energized, and thus allowing your creativity, sensuality, and sexuality to be energized, to be manifested. Gently and lovingly raise your awareness to your solar plexus chakra. As you reach your solar plexus chakra, be receptive and allow all the energies of shame, awkwardness, feeling bad, uncomfortable feelings to be cleansed. And as your solar plexus chakra is being energized, experience your self-identity and your power for your own life. The power to handle your life yourself being manifested. Gently and lovingly, raise your awareness to your heart chakra. The heart chakra is in the center of your chest. And allow your heart chakra to be cleansed of all grief. Grief could be losing anything, not just loved ones. Losing property, losing a job, losing education, losing money. Allow your heart chakra to be cleansed of all grief. And allow your heart chakra to be filled and energized with unconditional love for your own self and for others in your life. Gently and lovingly, raise your awareness to your throat chakra. The throat chakra is in the center of your throat. And allow your throat chakra to be cleansed of all lies, all the denials. Lies about your own self, lies about your relationships, all that you denial in. Allow your throat chakra to be completely cleansed. And as your throat chakra is being energized, allow your creativity and your expression to bloom. Gently raise your awareness to your Ajna chakra, which is in between your eyebrows. Cleansing your Ajna chakra, you're clearing all the illusions that you have developed in your life. Illusions about your own self. I'm not good enough is an illusion. I don't have healthy relationships is an illusion. I'm incapable is an illusion. Cleanse your Ajna chakra of all illusions, false beliefs about yourself, your relationships, your possessions. Cleanse your Ajna chakra of all illusions and energize your Ajna chakra and thus develop your power for intuition. Intuition is nothing but your own clear thinking without bias, without judgment. Intuition is also your insights. Gently and lovingly, raise your awareness to your crown chakra and cleanse your crown chakra of all types of attachments. Attachments to your words, attachments to your pain, attachments to your trauma, attachment to your fights and disagreements. And allow your crown chakra to be energized and thus increase and enhance your awareness. Awareness about your own self, your emotions, your relationships, your abilities, your skills. Just continue to be receptive and allow the cleansing and energizing to continue in all your chakras. slowly and gently. Become aware of your breathing and slowly open your eyes when you think you are ready. Take your own time. Please do not hurry up. This was a very quick cleansing and an energizing experience, which is
Yes, ma'am.
what we can
Thank
do in
you.
a brief session.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah.
I hope it helped you all. Any inputs, any feedbacks, any sharing?
Ma'am, shall I say some words, ma'am?
Yes,
Yes.
please.
Yeah, you can.
Ma'am, it was a wonderful experience, ma'am. Now also I'm feeling your voice in my head. For some time, I can't remember what I done. I didn't know what chakra you said like that. I didn't know anything, but some words, your words, I feel it's troubling to me,
Thank
ma'am.
you so much.
Really, it was a wonderful experience, ma'am. I can't express with my words actually. Really beautiful, ma'am.
Any other questions or any sharing?
Ma'am, it's really a regenerating session. Thank you so much.
Thank
Your
you. My
words I
pleasure.
could hear in my brain, it's really awesome. Thanks a lot, ma'am. Thank you so much. It's wonderful.
Really humbled.
Now I would like to invite Sunita Ravi ma'am to give the vote of thanks, please.
Thank you, sir. It was awesome experience, ma'am. Wonderful experience. As you said, spiritual power in the human body, energy body that affects our emotional and physical well-being that we felt today. We are thanking you from Department of Psychology, the American College Madurai, MSW Chennai, and MS Chelamuthu Trust and Rehab Center Madurai, Psycho-Oncological Association Turkey, and SCARF Chennai and other associate partners. Thank you, participants. We can meet another interesting section tomorrow. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Before we